So first of all, welcome. And secondly, I just want to make sure that you all can hear me. So if you could just give me a resounding thumbs up visually, that would help. Okay, that's great. Good to hear that. That's wonderful. Before we start today, my name's Ted Scalzo. I'm a retired high school band director from Bayshore High School, Long Island, New York. And I've become a consultant to make music regarding higher ed. Specifically, I taught at Hofstra University. And as a result of a blog I wrote, we've been piloting a project where we have students using smart music for their training to become future music educators. We're going to basically cover four topics today. The first one being learning our secondary instruments and vocal techniques, how smart music can apply to that portion of a curriculum. The second would be aural skills and music theory. The third would be our studios, where we'd be working mainly on solo repertoire. And then the fourth aspect would be our large ensembles, be it choir, orchestra, band, jazz ensemble, etc. We've got a lot of material to cover, and I think it's important that we start kind of from the beginning and give you an overview of what smart music is, what it does, just making sure that you're all seeing four essential ways to use smart music on your screen. The most important thing about smart music and everything in the musical world is the quality of the practice is just as important as the quantity. And that's one of the reasons I enjoyed using smart music so much with my students. It wasn't so much that we spent more time, but more that we spent quality time in the little bit of time that my students would have. Still have to set specific goals. That's how you're going to be able to measure your students' growth and success. And it's important to realize too that smart music's a tool. You are the instructor, and great instruction will never ever be replaced by any software or hardware. So it's still the expert instructor that will take smart music and its students to that next level. The whole goal of all of this material, the software, the content, is for you to be able to create lessons that are going to enable your students to have deliberate and focused practice. By being thoughtful and disciplined and making those assignments steer your students in the direction they need to go for improvement, it's going to be better for them, better for you, and more enjoyable. The positives of smart music can't be expressed more than the fact that you're going to get immediate feedback. And immediate feedback comes from a couple of different areas. First is the red note, green note assessment, where the students are seeing if they're playing right notes, right rhythms. But the other thing is to be able to go back and listen to how did I sound this accompaniment that I was playing. So those kinds of things are going to help your students improve. And then your ability to be able to send to your students feedback outside of the classroom is a huge, huge, huge change. So you take the walls down and you make it so that your lesson, your rehearsal is basically 24/7. So whenever that student gets the assignment to you, you're able to then turn it back and give them immediate feedback prior to coming back into your classroom. So it's important, first of all, to know that this new smart music is not an application, it's a web-based application, and it only will work in the Chrome browser. That's important for everyone to know as well. It's not going to work in any other browser but Chrome. And specifically, Chromebooks, Macs, PCs, and the iPad, which is a specific app, will enable you to use smart music with your students. Okay, very important that we all know that. The new music, smart music content is pretty rich, robust. There's a lot of material in there. There's methods for band, strings, and vocal. Many exercises. We have large ensemble repertoire for band, jazz band, string, and choral, large group titles. And then if that's not enough, you're able to upload your own content. So any notation software that you have that exports in XML, you're going to be able to create materials to upload into Smart Music and use with your students. In addition to that, there's also a bunch of solos on screen. So again, this old Smart Music was an application. It resided on your computer. It required all kinds of IT setup and access. The new Smart Music is a web-based application in the Chrome browser only, and it's quite simple and easy to use as well. So again, the four areas of discussion today, we're going to start out with instrumental and vocal training for future music educators, and show just briefly in a minute here a quick video to get you into so you can see the amount of method books that are available there, and in particular how to open one of those. Then I'm going to ask a young lady from University of Colorado Boulder, Megan Ogden, to share with us her transformation and usage of smart music in her class at Boulder, specifically for woodwind methods. So we'll show a brief video and then allow Megan to share with you her results. And then I also have a short clip of one of the students there that's using smart music, and she had some pretty interesting insights as to the value. Given time, we're going to then talk about oral skills and music theory, specifically sight reading, sight singing. We have a bunch of material available to you in there, but there also is the ability to turn everything that's in smart music into sight reading or singing. So that's important for you to know as well. Okay, and for applied studio instruction, of course, the solo literature. Okay, and what's beautiful is inside of smart music, there are many solos, but there's like books with several solos built inside. And on top of that, the studio instruction side of doing solo literature at the college level is that a student can practice any time of the day and not be, I guess, bound by the time schedule of the accompanist. Okay, so that when they do get together with their accompanist, they are able to perform at a high level and be able to work on the ensemble and the musicality portion of that. And then the large ensemble titles for the music for the university level, it'd be great to look at one of those and just see what kind of an accompaniment students are working with. So we're going to move ahead. So this is what new smart music looks like, and it just so happens that this week we just had a little bit of an interface change. So we used to have a nav bar up here at the top, and that is now gone. And as you can see over here, it's now called the dashboard. And when you click on it, it will present you with this new menu. So it's a streamlined interface. It's going to enable you to get to wherever you need to work quickly and save some time. All right. So it's the dashboard. It's in the upper right-hand corner now. And here is your new menu. So for secondary instruments and voice classes at the college level, there's 131 method books in Smart Music that's available to the students and the professors. So if you're teaching choral methods, there's several methods in there regards to voice singing and sight singing. There's just about every band method is in there. There's material on jazz ensemble, orchestra, string orchestra, quite a bit. So 131 method books. And it's interesting because that changed over the last year, because I think a year ago it was 84. So we're constantly adding new content that's going to enable you to do many things with your students. The one thing I always try to point out to faculty members and to students, especially those that are training to be future music educators, is with 131 method books, you don't have to be married to just one. You can use whatever is important to you, to your students. It might fill a need to be using an orchestral method if you're a band class. Maybe you're going to do some sight singing out of one of the beginning band methods. There's all kinds of different ways to utilize the content. Simple things like with your beginning group, if you're doing beginning folk songs, is to go and explore those folk songs in the other method books to expose your students to different accompaniments, different speeds, tempi, styles, and then keep honing those skills that you want to improve, but in an interesting and new fashion, keeping interest up at a high level. On the ensemble side, we now have 5,311 titles as of today. That's for band, orchestra, and jazz ensemble. There are 152 pieces for choir. Okay. We have 19 different exercises that run the gamut from scales to arpeggios to fingering exercises. There are 16 collections of sight reading and sight singing materials. Again, they're all shareable. We can definitely have our instrumentalists do the sight singing materials and sight read them on their instruments. And we can have our vocalists sight singing the instrumental materials as well. There are 788 solos. The important thing to remember there is many of those are collections, such as the Bordoni Melodious Studies that many of us have to do in college to work on playing in a beautiful legato style. So at this time, what I'd like to do is share with you a quick movie. So this is Megan Ogden, ladies and gentlemen, in the classroom.
So I'm going to walk through it with you, and we're going to do it all together in real life on your computers next week. This is my teacher screen for SmartMusic. It's a little different than yours. I have already uploaded a bunch of my arrangements just so that they're in here and I can access them, which is fantastic. If I want to upload new content, I'm going to go to this upload new content button. I know, right? I'm just going to say pop music, which I've already done a few times, and it's going to be a band and orchestra score. I'm going to save those changes and move forward. I'm also going to screenshot this process so you have it. And we're going to keep going. And we're going to call it Fun Times, because that's what we're having. And here, we're going to get two options in 1 second. But to do that, I'm going to add music. My two options become, I can upload a score, which is what I've done with all my previous arrangements, as long as they're in the formats listed here. Or, in this beta version, you can create a score. It has a compose feature in it. Woo! Which is very exciting. We're going to do a quick creation. A quick creation. So here it looks like Finale, because SmartMusic and Finale are from the MakeMusic company. They're under the same umbrella. So it looks, acts, feels like Finale if you're familiar with that program. And here is where you can start creating your arrangement. So your options will be create it in the Compose tool, or create it in Finale, Sibelius, whatever, upload it into SmartMusic. But it's a really cool feature that going forward as the beta is published and it's good to go to use in your classroom. Especially if you have a smartboard. Composing on a smartboard is awesome because they drag and drop. They listen back and they're like, you know what, I don't like that. And they manipulate it kinesthetically in real life and change it to be what they want it to be. And composition isn't that stuffy thing anymore. It's right there. It's just fun. It's like almost like a game, because it's like, what notes can I put together that sound great? And so next Sunday, not this Sunday, but the next one, once you have teacher access, in lieu of doing a playing assignment, you're going to go into this Compose beta and you're going to compose an 8-measure exercise for the instrument that you're playing and send it into SmartMusic so that we can all see these different exercises that you would use for your real life students once you're in the classroom. But don't worry. Actually, you did get teacher access this morning. It just has to be assigned to you. So just wait. Dr. Rickles should be contacting us about how to go forward with that. And you'll be able to access it from the teacher side and go through and do this with the ultimate goal that you will upload your arrangement into SmartMusic so that we can all see it beforehand. You can practice the flute part if you're on flute, so on and so forth, at least a little bit, so when you come into class, you're not sight reading on a secondary while someone's conducting a pop song. Because it's loud. But it's really fun, and you've all been smiling about this.
Okay, at this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over to Megan Ogden and let her talk to you.
I'm going to go with yes. Everyone can hear me? Okay.
I can hear you.
Great. Yes, so you just saw my Woodwind Methods course at CU Boulder. It's a class that consists of freshman, sophomore, and junior music education majors. And their final project is an arrangement. And when I took over the class, I decided it needed to be a popular song because in my own teaching experience, I found that by bringing in the students' interests in music outside of the classroom, it really increased their engagement in the classroom. And by building up their skills working on music that they really liked, they found a love for music that they didn't like before too, because their rhythm reading abilities increased and they wanted it to be right because they knew how it was supposed to sound. And so, I mean, one of my favorite stories is I had a seventh grade male cellist come up to me and say, these pop songs, they're fun, but the cello lines are kind of boring. Can we play something by, I don't know, Mozart or Bach? Because he wanted something more challenging. So win-win there. But the great thing about Smart Music with this Woodwinds class is it's really allowing me to flip the classroom and give the students uh, they're feeling what it's like to be the educator already, getting this educator access and being able to see what Smart Music looks like from the other side. We actually went through and did another composition this morning in class and made another 8-measure exercise so that they were just getting familiar with that compose tool. And they were able to share out and say, for this exercise for oboe, I'm working on engaging the octave key. Or for bassoon, in this exercise, I'm engaging using half hole on my first finger on my left hand because that's really challenging. And it's getting them to think about what is challenging for them as adult musicians learning these secondary instruments, and then what will be challenging for their future students. And so, how can they meet them where they are, compose these exercises that'll meet their needs, that maybe aren't being met in those method books, because there are so many out there and we have used probably 4 or 5 of them. But we still have those students where we just can't find quite the right exercise. And so by using this compose feature, they're able to get to them where they are, and help them feel successful in the classroom. And it's fun for them too, hearing their compositions. Just like my old middle school students, they get really excited to hear their compositions played back right away. And they're excited to share, and they're proud of that. And it's increasing engagement for my undergraduates in the class, which is at 8 a.m. So it's a little difficult sometimes. I mean, they had a concert last night, so this morning was a little groggy. But once they were composing and creating, they were more awake, and more excited and engaged in my class too.
Megan, just a quick question. You've taught this class before. When you didn't use Smart Music, did you notice actually, I should rephrase that. Did you notice a change from the class when you didn't use Smart Music to when you did use it?
I did, because we have a weekly Smart Music assignment. So on Sunday nights, they have to submit an exercise that we choose and assign to them. And I found that their technical playing ability in class was higher because they were practicing and they wanted to submit the highest grade that they could. So they were on average taking 5 or 6 takes. So they were exploring their instruments and actually getting to know the fingerings and the embouchure, and working on intonation on their own outside of class.
That's wonderful. I had a video. I'm going to take over here. Thank you for your input. And if we have any questions for Megan, feel free to type those in, and we'll get to them maybe at the end. So this is one of Megan's students today. Just sent this in. I thought this was pretty telling, and it echoes exactly what Megan was just talking about.
Hi, my name is Eleanor Dunlap. I'm a student at the University of Colorado Boulder. I'm a junior studying music education and double bass performance, and this is my second year working with Smart Music. I do feel like I've gotten better with Smart Music. In all of our methods classes, brass, woodwinds, strings, we have weekly assignments. It keeps us on track with learning our secondary instruments, provides instant feedback. You can hear the playback of your recordings, and you can see your success with the green and the red note heads, which is a motivator for me. And I know a lot of my peers too. We like seeing an all green run. And it helps us, I think, learn twice. One, we want to beat ourselves. We want to beat our previous take, and then after we have the notes and rhythms under our fingers and in our chops, then we're able to go to the TAs and ask, how can I refine these skills on the instruments? I am much more aware of the methods and repertoire because of Smart Music. There's such a variety in genre and difficulty and instrumentation available. There are things that I've never heard of. and they're all accessible with our account, which is wonderful.
So I thought that was really telling, and it definitely reflects exactly what Megan was sharing with us. And it's one of the things that we're discovering is the college student has different needs because they're preparing to be teachers, but in some respects they're not unlike our high school, middle school, elementary school students. They're just as motivated by having great accompaniments to practice with, or a plethora of different resources to check out. Yeah, it again just goes to speak to exactly what we were talking about. I'm just going to load one more video to share with you, and this one specifically is with regarding method book assignments. So in SmartMusic, we just went through that wonderful resource there. We saw how many different method books. I just clicked on the method book icon over there. I'm specifically looking for Sound Innovations, book 2, to work on a performance piece. And I went right to Assign, okay? And I picked up Lightly Row. So now I'm in the assigner, and I wanted you to see that with the new SmartMusic interface, we've changed the control over all the parameters. You're able to send out the assignment with controls over metronome, accompaniment, my part, and as well as how the cursor flows, and in regards to whether your measures are highlighted or not. You might find it's distracting for some particular students. It might be helpful for others. Again, that's the beauty of SmartMusic, is the ability to create all of this customized instruction. Just going to test, make sure it sounds right. Okay, so it's important to see that. And now if I'm going to send that out, I could save that setup and send it to all of my instrumentalists, or I could just send it out to just my flute players. I'm changing the tempo in the parameter of this assignment. Okay. And now I'm sending specific instructions to my students as to what exactly they're going to work on. And I'm focusing on that they play it musical. So now I'm going over here to the rubrics I've created. I'm going to assign the SmartMusic assessment grade as part of it. So that's the red note, green note. And then I'm focusing on musicianship, and that's in a multi-tiered setup where there's a outstanding, good, and needs improvement category. And the score will add up to 100. The template's created. I click Assign now. I'll choose my class, and I can choose to send it to all the members of the class or just a specific student or two, and of course set up the dates and times, and also maybe a reminder. So now it's successfully done. That assignment goes out. The class then will put it together, and that will be the assignment as it goes out. And again, there's so many method books in SmartMusic that you'll be able to do this with many of them. We've covered method books a little bit. We've seen Megan in action. She's talked to us. We've seen one of her students. And then the next part of this is the aural skills in SmartMusic. Here I am in SmartMusic, in the home screen of SmartMusic. Okay, I hope everybody can see that. So here's a list of all of the sight reading and sight singing content that's available in SmartMusic. Wonderful way for college students to be working on their aural skills training. There's many different levels. We'll just open up one real quick. Okay, so we'll do it for bass voice. And there's warm-ups and exercises. And here's something that you could send out to your students and have them work on. So one of the things you just saw Megan do was she was having her students create content. What I'd like you to do is actually see how that actually works and how we can, inside of SmartMusic, using the notation engine, be able to create content for us to use. Yeah, just saying that we had to upload content. We clicked on upload content. We had to give it a title and put it into a category. Okay, we're going to create a movement. Okay, now we're going to go to the process of adding music, and we'll be presented with two options. We can either upload an XML file, which we've already created, or go into the new notation engine inside of SmartMusic and create something using the new notation engine. So in this particular one, we're going to use the beginning band template, and we're going to do America. All right. Okay, so we set it for 6 bars, 3/4 time. And we're going to create a score. Notice you are hearing a flute sound, okay? And we're clicking on each pitch and adding it in, changing the rhythm, just like we do in Finale with our numeric keypad. So 6 is half note, 5 is quarter, 4 is eighth. So now that once we get this whole thing created, we're going to add some dynamics. Okay, we're just clicking in at the top of the screen, adding them. We'll put in some crescendos now. The hairpins, very intuitive. Click, drag. Okay, another dynamic marking. And we're ready to go to the next step. Okay, we're going to add a few symbols, fermata. So clicking and dragging right here, simple process. The other way that this can be done is with a MIDI keyboard. It's great. So now we're going to shift click on that line, selecting it, and just drag it down and to the other staves and create our nice mini arrangement for our band. Send this out as an assignment and have your students practice with it and be able to work on it. So transposing now, she clicked on that on the left, and we're going to transpose it down an octave. Actually, 2 octaves. Maybe one more, right? High F1 of a bassoon, that age might be a little challenging. So off we go. There's our arrangement. Okay, and now we're going to be able to select our parts, send them out as an assignment, and we're ready to go. Okay, so again, just proving the value here of SmartMusic in terms of higher ed and even in our public school systems as well. This is a valuable tool for everybody, not just higher ed. But in terms of training future music educators and allowing them the process of creating new materials for students and getting inside of SmartMusic and using it as a student, but again, like Megan said, thinking like a teacher now. So this is a change, from what we've done in the past. It used to be, you went in and you were always the student in the class, and then you didn't think about being teacher as much until you graduated and went out for that first job. I feel like SmartMusic affords you that opportunity to focus even more on what it's like to think as a teacher and start creating and putting things together. So the other thing I wanted to share now is solos. So let me see if I can share my screen again. Back into SmartMusic in the web. I'm going to enlarge that. And let's go back and look at solo literature. So I'm going to use the dashboard, and we're going to find music. And here's another way of getting to all the different content that's available in SmartMusic. You're going to see a chance to explore by some genres and categories, publisher, if you're looking for something publisher specific, and then again, our general categories that are up on the front page. So let's just look at solos. And specifically, I wanted you to see these vocalises that are very important to all our instrumental students. So I'm going to open up the number 4, which is a favorite of all the trombone players. And now it's a vocalise that's it's a standard in the rep in the studios used by many trombone teachers all across the world. And now you have this accompaniment. Clicked on the controls just to show you that there's a lot of power here in terms of our practice materials, and in terms of being able to send it out for specific need. If you're working on time with a student, maybe you don't want the accompaniment on. You want that student to just work with the metronome. Maybe their inner beat it needs a little fine tuning, so you have the subdivisions clicking away. Probably at the college level, you're not too concerned about my part, but for beginning band students, especially French horn, I found, my part's a godsend. This is really fantastic. And the fact that now it's a timbre that's a reasonable facsimile of the instrument they're playing is a huge change, big boost. It'll definitely, I think you'll find it's going to be an improvement for, so you'll find that it's going to improve overall. So quick things I wanted you to see. Everything in SmartMusic has fingerings, and if there's multiple fingerings or slide positions, it will give you all of those. And of course, a sounding pitch, okay, if you click on that icon. All right, very important for us all to be aware of that. And if you click on assessment, it'll bring you to, we have a built-in digital tuner, which actually transposes, great for those French horn and alto sax players. And if you want to now send this out, let's say as an assignment, you'd be able to click on assign here and send that out. So again, this is just one example of how SmartMusic could be used in the studio for private lessons as well. I have one more category that I wanted to highlight a little bit here, and that's basically the large ensemble. Okay, the large ensemble in all of our schools is probably the most interesting because of what it affords us. So what I'd like to do is share with you another file. Okay, and here we go. So this is going to be a quick video on finding a large ensemble title. So what I'm going to do is specifically use the dashboard again for find music. There's that different area of content to go. All right, but I already know the name of the title of the piece I'm looking for, so I'm going to type that in, American Overture. Okay, and it brings me to 3, and there's the American Overture I'm looking for. I'm going to open it. Specifically, I'm going to look for the French horn parts, and French horn 1. And I'm going to open that. And I just want you to hear the accompaniment, because this is what your students are practicing with. And I think that's what's important for us all to remember. Okay, and you can see there's multiple fingerings, obviously, for G in the French horn, and again, getting the timbre-specific pitch as playback. Okay, very valuable for us. But the thing to remember here is that's the ensemble that your students are going to be practicing with. So their model is of a very high caliber, good time, good pitch, musically performed, and that's the model they come into rehearsal with. Now, when I go to assign this, I want you to look at this. Okay, what I'm showing you here is a predefined assignment. So in all of the large ensemble literature, we have these predefined assignments that are in there, written by directors all across the country who have performed this work probably several times and know exactly what part, what measure for each instrument that they would cover for those first couple of lessons. What would be the priority? So the heavy lifting's been done for the student and the future educator already. Couple of things about that. As college students, when we're training to be teachers, we go through those secondary methods. We focus probably on method books, which is important. But there's not as much focus on maybe the beginning and middle literature. Because when we're in our ensembles, we're probably in the wind ensemble, the orchestra, and we're performing at an extremely high level. So that's the material that we're focused on for those 4 years and maybe even into our graduate years. But what SmartMusic has now is that content that you're going to go out as that first year teacher and have to know and use. So how great is it that a student could now go into SmartMusic, look at some of the beginning literature, and actually start to look at the predefined assignments prior to even getting it in front of that classroom for the first time. Another great aspect, I think, of the value SmartMusic affords. So I just wanted to bring that point to the surface because I think, again, it points to the fact that for training our future music educators, SmartMusic is a fantastic tool. And I really do believe that it should be in the hands of every student across America so that they have the tools and the practice possibilities to make their career great. Some things to keep in mind before we finish today. First of all, know our website. Make sure that you have it on your browser, quick link, and check it and see what's going on. There's always something there, I think, of value. So specifically, pricing. So since we're talking to so many different teachers and professors across the country here today, if you want to know more about pricing, basically you should contact your salesperson. And the best way you're going to do that is to go to the website. And that's the URL right now, smartmusic.com, request-more-information. And once you enter in your zip code, they'll know who to talk to and where you can get the best information and who your salesperson is. The other thing that's really important is SmartMusic is constantly evolving, and proof of that is this week. Many things were improved this week. We're always looking at how to make it a better tool for the students, for the teachers. And that conversation and that change is being driven by your voices. And if you get involved with us on social media, you're going to find that you'll be heard. So I encourage you to whatever your choice of platform is, get involved here. And then the other thing to share with you is on the opening face of SmartMusic in that upper right hand corner is help. If you click on help, it brings you to a new page. So I'm going to just show you that real quick. Okay, so I'm going to go to the home screen, and I wanted you to see. There it is, question mark. So go to the Help Center, and things that you might need help with are organized. This is for teachers, administrators. And in here, there's a bunch of communities where they share with you the release notes, what's getting changed, what's on the roadmap to be changed. You have the opportunity to bring up feature requests, and then just some general discussion. So we've already provided on our website an opportunity for you to actually get involved in making SmartMusic even better than it is today. In addition, check out our music educator blog, sign up for our emails, and make sure that you get the updates and check this out. There's some really wonderful things on our blog that I think you're going to find valuable. In addition to that, we have a very great YouTube channel, okay, where we'll actually put this podcast up today and webinar. And you'll get to find educators all across the country, some really fantastic people. Bob Phillips is one of the ones that I find to be really, really great. I think like every future music teacher should take a look at that one specifically. Also, Dr. Tim Lautzenheiser's on there as well. So we're providing all kinds of content for you to be able to look at and view, and definitely check it out. So that's our YouTube channel at SmartMusic Software. So at this time, if there are not any more questions, we can call it a day, or if we have any questions, let's see. Well, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate your time today. You do see my email at the bottom of the page if you ever have any questions regarding using SmartMusic. Tech support is not my forte. Your best bet is to contact them through SmartMusic itself. But if you do have any questions regarding using SmartMusic in your classroom, feel free to reach out. I answer my emails usually within 30 minutes, unless it's sometime between midnight and 8. Thank you again. Thank you to Lee Calstead for jumping in, and for Giovanna Cruz. They're the MakeMusic education team. And thank you to Sonia Burtek as well for allowing me the opportunity to share with you my passion for SmartMusic. And Megan, can you jump back in here? And I just want everybody to hear you one more time. She was a great asset to us here today. I'm trying to find Megan. She may have left.
Yeah, I jumped back in.
Oh, you jumped back in. There she is. Okay, I don't know. Can everybody see Meg? I think they can.
Okay.
So let's just give a great big round of applause for Megan Ogden for being here today. I really appreciate it. And kids are in good hands at University of Colorado at Boulder, and some really great future music educators coming out of there. So thank you, everyone. And we'll see you sometime soon. Bye-bye.